Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to warmly welcome you all to today's online session on navigating professional journey through ICE. This session is organized by the Sri Lanka Association of the Institute of Civil Engineers, commonly known as SLAICA, which represent the members of the Institution of Civil Engineers Sri Lanka, with the aim of guiding aspiring engineers and young professionals towards a clear and structured career pathway. Today, this session is organized. Next, we are honored to be joined by the country representative, Dr. Kamal Lakseri. Dr. Kamal Lakseri is a distinguished civil engineer who graduated from the University of Moratuwa in 1987. He later pursued his master's degree in hydropower engineering at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology in 1999. He then completed his PhD in geotechnical engineering at Saga University in Japan. Throughout his professional career, he has contributed to several major hydropower projects in Sri Lanka, like Samanalavawa Hydropower Project, Kukulegama Hydropower Project, Broadland Hydropower Project, and Moropolla Hydropower Project. During his professional journey, he has served several prestigious positions, including as the president of the Institute of Engineers Sri Lanka. At present, he serves as the country representative of the Institute of Civil Engineers and also as the governor of Region 10 of the American Society of Civil Engineers. May I now warmly invite Dr. Kamal Lakseri to address the gathering. Sir, over to you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Gihanga. I hope you all can hear me. Good evening to everyone. And Dr. Jenny, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining today. Hope you all can hear me.
Hello. Yes, I've had a few troubles with not being able to hear very much so far, but
thank you.
But I'm hoping it's going to be okay.
Yes, thank you. Yes. So this today event titled Professional Journey Through IC, organized by the Institution of Civil Engineers Sri Lanka chapter, that is Sri Lanka SLICE, we call it SLICE, Sri Lanka Association of the IC UK. And this fully organized by our student chapter, actually. They are the ones initiated this, so I need to thank them as well. And this event, most of our student members and also the members from our main body executive committee are also joining. Actually, I want to mention here our current president of the executive committee is Engineer Dharmapala. He's a very senior member of IC, and he's not well, and so he was not planning to attend the event, but on my request, he's joining for a few minutes. So I will invite him also to speak a few words. So then before that, let me thank Dr. Jenny Illingworth, the membership manager of the IC, for accepting our request and joining today. So I hope this will be a very useful session for our members, especially young ones. And also I request all the members to post your questions, and this is a very good opportunity to know more about IC and to continue with IC. So without taking further time, let's move to the proceedings. So before that, may I invite Engineer Dharmapala, the current president, to speak few words. Engineer Dharmapala?
Sana.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kamal Lakseri. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you very well.
But what about others? Can you hear me?
Where? Sana, where?
Yeah, actually,
Sana.
I'm not supposed to talk too much. Only yesterday I discharged from the hospital and came home after a serious heart surgery. So Dr. Lakseri has dropped me a message asking just to come and participate for this event, just watch this event. And if I can address you with a little few words. So honoring him, I thought being the current chairman of the SLACE Sri Lanka. It is more advantageous and honor to Dr. Laksiri to accept his invitation. So I think, as he said, this event was totally organized by the student chapter of the Sri Lanka Association of ICE. When I think couple of months back, president of the student chapter, Mr. Ashen, came to me and he wanted me to find out some resources person among senior members of the ICE who are having membership, currently holding membership. I Then I suggested, why don't you? I suggested our secretary, Dr. Prageet, to have some kind of a communication with mother body and get somebody from that end who are very familiar. They are very well aware of how they are awarding this membership for various categories. Now, these most of these students who are organizing this are student member, graduate member, corporate member, fellow member, like that. The path is there. So I think their main problem is after passing out from university, how to go into the or obtain the next membership level. So I think that is why student membership and our secretary coordinated this one, and finally membership manager from ICE, they managed to get down today, Dr. Jenny Illingsworth. So thank you, madam, for your present here. So without taking much time, I warmly welcome you all of the members from mother body uh, on behalf of SLAY Sri Lanka. And it is over to organizers to continue the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Dhanpal. Yes.
Thank you so much as well, and I wish you a very speedy recovery. And I'm honoured that you came to our little event, having just recently come out of hospital. So I very much hope that that your recovery is speedy and complete. So, would you like me to?
Gihanga, so what's next?
Thank you, sir, sirs, for your inspiring words. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to introduce the keynote speaker for today, Miss Illingsworth. Miss Illingsworth brings with her a wealth of experience spanning several decades across project management, consultancy, and academia and leadership. She began her career as a project manager at Elmwood Sensors and went on to hold key roles at organizations such as Avery Dennison, Recruit, and ITNet, building a strong foundation in both technical and strategic project delivery. She later expanded her expertise into consultancy with Samiro's Management Services before moving on to academia at University of Birmingham, where she served in multiple impactful roles, including Project Development Manager and Industrial License Manager. Her leadership journey continued as the head of business and operations at Birmingham Centre for Railway Research and Education, where she played a pivotal role in upbringing industry and academia. Currently, she serves as the membership manager at the Institution of Civil Engineers, overseeing membership across regions including Mid England, Southeast Asia, South Asia, and Africa. Her work is instrumental in guiding engineers through their professional qualification on a global scale. In recognition of her contributions to the field, she was also shortlisted for the prestigious Woman in Rail Lifetime Achievement Award. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 2025. 20 With such inspiring and diverse career journey, we are truly privileged to have with us today. Please join me in warmly welcoming Miss Jenny Illingsworth. Over to you, ma'am.
Gosh, thank you. I don't recognise myself. Thank you so much for such warm welcome. I'm going to see if I can successfully share my screen. I'm going to make sure I choose the correct one. So I hope this is coming up and you can see my first screen about ICE membership. I hope that's correct. So thank you so much for inviting me to come and speak to you. It's an absolute privilege to be able to take some time, and I hope I won't take up too much of your evening. Over here in the UK, it's 2:20 in the afternoon, so I've got some catching up with you all to do on the day. So thank you so much for welcoming. Yes, I'm a membership manager. I'm a team of five, one of a team of five membership managers, and between us we look after the world really. And I have the great privilege actually of dealing and working with prospective engineering members across the whole of South Asia, and as well as Southeast Asia and Africa as well. So I have a real privilege in my position, and it's lovely to speak to you today. So what I'm going to speak about today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the ICE, although the videos have already shown you plenty. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the membership options, and so where once you've finished your studies, once you've graduated, where your degrees and where your career might take you in terms of ICE membership. Then some details about how to become a member of the ICE. And then reminding you a little bit maybe about the benefits of being a member of the ICE, considering it's a UK institution, and who you are in Sri Lanka. And then just quickly touching on how you can manage your own My ICE account, and then hopefully the next steps which you'll all be taking once you've graduated, or if you already are graduated. So introducing the ICE, as you already know because you watched the video, we have over 95,000 members in more than 150 countries, and we have over 5,000 members and growing across South Asia, of course, particularly Sri Lanka. And I'm very keen indeed to support all of your professional journeys as a result. We have been around since 1818, when a group of men decided that at the time, all of the engineering focus at the time, especially around the UK, was around warfare. And so they decided to open an institution where people who were looking at non-military engineering applications, which at the time were mostly around building roads and cities and infrastructure and buildings and things like this. Because of course it was all slightly before the Industrial Revolution, and when we became a manufacturing, the world's manufacturing took off really. So they called it civil engineering, and here we are. We're the oldest professional engineering institution as a result, because essentially every other engineering institution in the UK that's been formed has been formed out of the ICE. So we like to say we're the first and therefore obviously the best. And our job is to promote civil engineering around the world and to be a centre of excellence in knowledge. And we're licensed by the UK Engineering Council to assess civil engineers for professional registration. And that's at the various membership levels, but I'm not going to go into that because that's my next few slides. A little bit about what ICE does. And first and foremost, we qualify engineers and we set and maintain professional standards with a home of civil and infrastructure engineering. So as a result of that, we have a wide range of industry knowledge. We have support and networking, again, worldwide. We're a learned society. We do undertake research, and we develop new knowledge, as well as sharing all the knowledge that's kind of out there. We have the world's largest civil engineering library and an enormous knowledge store, which my members can get into touch with. I'm sorry, a Teams call just came through. And we advise governments and infrastructure providers on policy and provide expert comment. So it's not just about qualifying members, it's also about making sure our members and their organisations can benefit from the wide knowledge around infrastructure. So membership options, this is a very quick, simple one. We have 5 membership grades. We start with student members, and we have many student members here on the call today. And the student membership is kind of our gateway, if you like. It's where we want to support people who are undertaking their studies, starting again, as I say, their professional journey through infrastructure and civil engineering. And I'm so pleased that it's a free membership as well, so you can hopefully see some of the benefits of being involved in the institution before we start asking you for any money. Upon completion of your studies, we would hope that you will all then upgrade yourselves, so to speak, to graduate membership. Now, graduate membership is actually enjoyed by many people throughout their careers. In fact, we're privileged to have many thousand graduate members, and they include people who are early in their careers, as well as people who are very well established, directors and senior people who just simply haven't obtained their professional qualification for any reason. If I hop across up to the next one, members level, and graduates and members as well have these post-nominals, as we call them, the letters after their name. So if you're a graduate member, you can call yourself your name and then GMIC at the end of your name. Membership, full membership of the institution, it comes along with an Engineering Council professional qualification. So we lock these two up together. Some engineering institutions have separated it, so it's possible to be a full member of an institution without being associated with the Engineering Council registration. But in infrastructure and in civil engineering, we find it so important to ensure that our members have that professional capability and competence that we've kept it locked together. So our members are either an engineering technician, EngTech grade, an incorporated civil engineer, or a chartered civil engineer. Or it could be, similarly, we have an infrastructure engineering qualification, in which case there'd be an infrastructure engineering technician, an incorporated infrastructure engineer, or a chartered infrastructure engineer. And so if you're, say, an engineering technician member, you would call yourself your name, EngTech MICE, for instance. So there's a few examples I've given you in that pale blue box. For people who have made a significant impact in the field of civil and infrastructure engineering, there's the opportunity to become a fellow. And the fellow is, unlike membership, can be separated from Engineering Council registration, because there are a lot of people who make a significant impact in the sector without necessarily being an engineer. These people might start being an associate member at the AMICE member, and these are people who may be like lawyers or project managers or scientists or kind of business people also. And because these people don't have the engineering background, they're not practicing as engineers, but they're still making a difference in the world of infrastructure and in civil engineering. And both members, MICE members, and associate members, AMIC members, can once they can demonstrate they're making a significant impact in the sector, can then become fellows. And so we try and reward everybody in the best possible way. So I'm very much hoping that all of you here on the call who are student members will be looking at your graduate membership when you've completed your studies. And if you're not already a member, or if you're a graduate member, then some of this will also hopefully be useful and be interesting. So how to become an ICE member? So I'm just going to focus here on MICE membership and its associated engineering qualifications. It's actually really easy to become an MICE member. And it's based on the combination of your academic qualifications, your professional competence, and then a review, an interview essentially with a couple of people who are equivalent peers. And then we underpin all of that with continuing professional development, because engineering, of course, is a continuously evolving and improving sector of the world, of business, an industry. And so there's always something new happening. And we as individuals, as professionals, also want to make sure our information that we have available to us, our capabilities and our knowledge also remains fresh throughout our careers. So we require our members to undertake continuing professional development at all times. And my team and I are on hand to support our members and to support you every step of this way. You'll get lots of help from us and also hopefully your employer throughout this process to help people achieve their membership goals. So let's take a little look at some details. So first of all, academic qualifications. As with any qualification, there are entry criteria, and we have a minimum, as we call a minimum educational base, that we require our members to be. These are all, I'm afraid, these are all UK-based academic qualification levels, but I'll try and explain it in a more international way. So at technician level, we're looking at what we call in the UK a level 3 qualification. Now, when we go through school in the UK, we have compulsory education up to 16 or 18. At 16 years old, we take what we call GCSEs, General Certificate of School Education. And they include kind of general levels of maths, English, subjects, science, geography, history, languages, all these kind of things. And that's what we call level 2. That's kind of the fundamental known and established qualifications that people will take to get ready to leave school and leave full-time education. The next level up, a level 3, are the levels of qualification you take in order to enter into university or higher education. So for technicians, we're looking at a level 3 qualification. So that could be in the UK a higher national certificate, or a BTEC, or a higher national diploma. So some of these kind of levels of educational base. But interestingly, if you have a higher level of educational attainment, but not in engineering, you can also be eligible for the technician level of membership. So that's all a little bit kind of complicated. If you have a bachelor's undergraduate degree, so what in the UK is called a level 6 qualification, then that will give you eligibility at incorporated level, at IEng. And chartered engineering level requires a master's level of education, so what we call a level 7 education attainment. And you can do this with formal education, but you can also use experiential learning, as we call it. So you can demonstrate your knowledge that you might have picked up in the workplace over a number of years, as well as formal educational programs. So how do you know if your qualification is recognised by the ICE? Well, there are a couple of ways of doing this. If your degree that you're currently studying is accredited locally in Sri Lanka, then Sri Lanka and the UK are both signatories to the Washington and Sydney Accords. And these two accords are global engineering agreements that say if one country's engineering body, so in the UK, the Engineering Council, accepts the opinion, if you like, the accreditation of another country's engineering council equivalent, then we know that those degrees are equivalent, that we know that those degrees will teach their students, their graduates, what we in the UK and around the rest of the world, around the Washington and Sydney Accords, also accept are appropriate. And so if your degree is recognised under the Washington Accord, simple, nice and easy, we will know in the ICE what that degree is all about, and we will be able to advise you which level of qualification it meets. Now, if you don't know this, then you can make an inquiry into the ICE, and sometimes you might need to undertake an academic assessment. An academic assessment is simply where we look at what you studied and understand where you've gained your knowledge, where the knowledge, what knowledge you have, and therefore again assess it against what we know we need for engineering technician, incorporated and chartered engineering levels. And you can do this online as well. There's an accredited course search, and that link, and you'll be able to receive a copy of these slides after the event. You can go into this course, this link. You'll put your institution, your study dates, and the study type is full-time or part-time or so. And you hit submit, and you get a number of different answers back, depending. So there's a couple of examples. So we have one, the first one here is where we know your qualifications, and we know what the accreditation is, and we know that this particular person's qualifications gives them eligibility at incorporated level. That's great, easy peasy, great. That person can go ahead and complete their membership at graduate level and work towards incorporated level. If they want to become a chartered engineer, then we can give them some advice as to how to attain that higher level of knowledge, evidence of the knowledge for chartered level. The middle one is a little bit confusing because it shows that the person is eligible for membership, but without the Engineering Council qualification, which of course, as you know, I've just said we don't do that. So basically, it's saying, yeah, we're quite sure you probably will do, but I think we might need to do an academic assessment. And the third one is, wow, we've never heard of this one before. So we definitely need to do an academic assessment. So please send us information about your degree. And to do that, if you apply for an academic assessment, then we'll ask for a copy of your CV, details of your qualifications, which is usually the certificate and the transcript of your qualification. And again, the transcript, you see, will tell us what you've learnt throughout your degree, and in particular what your personal project has been about. And to do this, you take a copy of your certificate. You don't take the real certificate, you take a copy, and you ask somebody who is kind of like a trusted person. So it could be somebody in your company, your line manager, it could be a lecturer, another ICE member or so. And your chosen person will write a kind of a certifying statement to say, yes, this is a correct copy of this certificate, and similarly transcript. And if your certificate's not in English, then you would do the same for an English translation of the certificate. And once you know what your degree qualification gives you entitlement or eligibility for, that gives you an immediate route straight into graduate membership. So it's a nice, easy way of doing this. So the next stage is professional competence. So of course we need to make sure that our qualified people meet essentially a specification for qualification, and we create the specification in terms of 7 attributes of a professional engineer, and this link down here will show you, will take you straight to that specification. And of course, for the 3 different levels of membership and qualification for EngTech, incorporated and chartered engineering, there are different levels of competencies of these various attributes. Because when you look at the 7 little blobs, you'll see that one of them is technical, understanding and practical application of engineering, and the others are all about you being a rounded, capable, competent professional engineer. So it covers your management and your leadership and your commercial ability, your ability to speak with people, and your interpersonal skills. It'll look at how you consider sustainable development in the activities that you do, and how you consider the very important element of health, safety and welfare. And then finally, about your own personal professional commitment. So we don't want just somebody who is highly technically capable. We want somebody who is technically capable, but also a rounded, capable, altogether good professional person. So we make this specification, and then we'll also support people through developing their skills to meet this specification. And there are 3 different ways to do this. This is particularly for iEng and CEng pathways. One is to join a company where the company operates the ICE training scheme. Another one is to join a company where they can provide you some support using a professional and an ICE qualified and trained mentor to support your acquisition of all of these attributes. Or the other one is that you may end up working for quite some time in a professional capacity where you actually find yourself you're gaining all of these capabilities anyway. So after maybe 5, 7 years or so, you can look back on your career and say, oh, look, I have already met all of these requirements. And that's what we call the career appraisal route. So once you've demonstrated all this capability, then you'll apply for a professional review. So what is a professional review? Well, it combines a presentation and an interview and a written task. In order to apply for your professional review, you'll write a report of around about as iEng and CEng level, again, you'll write a report of around about 5,000 words describing what you've done in 1 or 2 projects in such a way that when you describe what you've done, it's clear as you write your report how you meet those 7 member attributes. You'll then give a presentation. So you'll apply for your review with that report and a few other documents that you'll be able to see if you click on the link that says professional review guidance. You'll be able to you'll apply for that with a few other as I say pieces of submission, and your reviewers will read this ahead of the day. On the day, you'll give a short presentation, around about 15 minutes. And then, depending on whether you're incorporated or a chartered level, you'll then have an interview of 60 or 90 minutes, which is where your 2 reviewers will ask you questions because they're actually interested in what you're doing, and they'll ask you questions around your presentation, around your report, around the rest of your submission, and tease out again and satisfy themselves that you do meet all of those 7 member attributes. And then there's a short written task, which is part of the communication skills attribute, and it's looking particularly about, say, how you might answer a question or talk to somebody who maybe isn't a technical person, or it might be writing a blog or answering some points about health, safety and welfare on a construction site or something like this. So it's geared and tailored around you as well, this particular written task. So once you've done that, then you wait a few weeks or so, and then hopefully you get your result and you've passed and you can tell the world and congratulate yourself. And these links again have some downloadable information about that professional review. And as I said, the whole thing is underpinned with continuing professional development. So if I go into this a little bit of detail, CPD, again, it's a professional requirement rather than a legal one. We don't legally need to do this as professional engineers. Some professions do legally require their members to keep up to date, but we don't. But it is in our rules of professional conduct. And it's demonstrating your ongoing professional commitment. It's keeping up with any changes and changing and updating your skills as your career progresses as well. It's a kind of it has a cyclical nature. So it starts off with where you might be thinking about what you're doing, thinking about the kind of skills that you might need, thinking about where you personally would like your career to go, your knowledge to go. So you'll think about that, and you'll then think about what you need to do, and then think about how you're going to do it. And from there, you'll create a development action plan in Orange. Then you'll carry out your CPD activities, and you'll make a note of that. So you'll note those in your personal development record. And then you'll also be reviewing and analysing and thinking about how useful was that piece of learning, Would I like to do more of it? Is it a good idea? Would I like to delve deeper into it? And so it brings you back round to the planning cycle again. And these two orange boxes are what form your CPD record for the ICE. Now, CPD itself is everything you learn, everything you come across. I hope that this session here might even count as CPD if I do end up telling you anything you didn't know before. So it's formal learning and it's informal learning. It's learning that takes place maybe off the job. So things, so say a day or a week-long training course or something. It might be some private study you do. You might be reading a book all about structural engineering or something. You might look at some YouTube videos. You might watch a program on TV or access a documentary or something like this about something to do with engineering that you could say, yeah, I've learned that and that's relevant for my work. That's a bit of off-the-job training, again, formal and informal. And on the job, you could just be speaking with your colleague and say, how do I do this? How do I work this piece of structural analysis software, something like this? And they show you how to do it. They show you what it's all about, what it's doing, that kind of thing. Just picking up how you do your job over a few weeks, picking up techniques. Say you're joining an interview panel for new graduates or something for the next cohort of graduates, or you're helping out with that kind of recruitment activity. You'll learn how to do that. Again, that's all relevant CPD. So your CPD isn't just about your technical learning. Think about, again, the rest of those attributes. Your CPD will cover all of those attributes as well, all of that range of information. So it's basically kind of anything really you're doing, anything, anywhere in your life that you might learn something, that can count as CPD. And it could even be things like if you volunteer, say you volunteer on a sports centre or in first aid provision or something like this, then any learning you do there, it could well apply into your job. So again, it could be relevant. So those two documents I mentioned for CPD is your development action plan. So this is the bit at the beginning of, say, a 12-month period, where you say, what do I want to learn? Oh, maybe I need to learn more about sustainable development, and I definitely need to do some health and safety. We have a requirement actually for certain topics, which I'll mention in a moment. You might say, oh, I could really do with understanding those new materials or recycled concrete aggregates or something like this. So those kind of things. So you'd list those things. You'd have maybe 4 or 5 objectives within your development action plan, and you'd give them a reference number. And then you talk about what's the impact, what's the benefit of doing that, and if there's any particular dates by which you might be able to achieve some of them. So a piece of health and safety training, say you might undertake before you went out on a site visit. If you're going on a site visit in August, then you want to make sure you've done that health and safety training before August. So you'd say maybe end of July is when you want to do this. If it's kind of generally picking up and getting more familiar with a piece of work, that would be something that you would look at reviewing at the very end of your action plan period, so the following 12 months. So a lot of people will create a development action plan that covers a calendar year, say. So the date would be January, say 2026, and then some of these might be, I say, July 2026 or September, and then December for the kind of the just kind of ongoing kind of activities. And then when you carry out your development activities, you have your personal development record, which lists what you did. So you went on that health and safety training course, you attended an ICE webinar about recycled concrete aggregates, or you did some learning, you did some reading, and then then you have your reference, you have the date in which you undertook that piece of learning, the reference if it refers back to your development action plan, and then the effective learning hours. So if you imagine you go on a one-day course, the course may start at 8:30 a.m. It may finish at 5:30 p.m. So that's 9 hours of time period, but you won't spend all 9 hours learning something, because you'll get there, you'll register, there'll be coffee, there'll be a break, there'll be lunch, there'll be there'll be various times set aside for not learning anything particularly. And the first maybe 2 hours might be just telling you things you already knew. So that effective learning time then goes down. So for any one day of course that you go on, then we expect that actually the maximum amount of time you would spend learning anything new would be 6 hours. But you might spend half an hour reading an article in a newspaper or something. And again, that all counts. So you add some reflection on what you've done, and kind of it helps to go back into that cycle of, would I like to do more? So the summary is that that your DAP, your development action plan, looks ahead at what you're going to do, and your personal development record records what you have done. Now, what we do also like to see in the ICE for people's personal development records are some unplanned activities, because we can plan as much as we like at the beginning of a year, but as life takes on and as interesting things happen, you might get interested in something, and then you might attend a webinar or read a book or read an article or watch a video or something about something that isn't in your development action plan. And then you go, oh, I've learned something, but it's not in my plan. Put it on your record. You just say unplanned. And then it shows that you're therefore engaged constantly in your learning. You're not just going to meet your development action plan. You're an engaged and enthusiastic engineer and a professional. You're thinking about all of these areas in which you could possibly learn things. And the question is, how much CPD do I do? Well, we have a requirement that every year we expect our members and our prospective members to be undertaking at least 30 hours of CPD every year. It's actually very easy to get 30 hours done. In fact, once you think about all the different areas, different times and occasions in which you can learn things. When you complete your IPD, when you apply for your professional review, we expect 3 full years of CPD records. So that's 3 full years of professional development records plus a current development action plan. And depending on which period of the year, then we may also expect, in fact, we will usually expect a year to date as well. CPD records. So your personal development records for year to date. So if you apply, say, in July for a review, we would expect the previous 3 years plus that year to date of records, again, which shows all of the things you're doing. And we have 3 mandatory themes of ethical and professional behaviour, safety and risk management, and sustainable development. Safety and risk management, health and safety and welfare training needs to be done at least once a year, and some. It doesn't have to, we have no minimum requirements, so even if it's an hour, because your job role doesn't really involve much consideration of safety management. But if you're working in an office, you will have fire safety training, you might have some help, some first aid training, you might have some security training. So they all kind of count in that sort of area. If you're out on site, you will do a lot more health and safety and welfare and considerations and writing risk assessments and all that kind of stuff. So you'll do a lot more of that because of the different nature of the work. But we expect on at least a 3-year rolling basis that everybody will cover some ethical and professional behaviour and some sustainable development. So hopefully this is all given you a little bit of a taster. So why might you want to consider your professional qualification? Well, it's not. There is an awful lot more to it than just letters after your name, because those letters mean something, and in particular in terms of confirming that you're a professional engineer with a recognised and internationally recognised capability. But of course, there are personal benefits as well, because once you're qualified, you're more likely to improve your career prospects and therefore your own personal earning potential. And it shows you, your colleagues, your employer, your employer's clients in particular, the evidence of that professional attitude that you have. It shows your expertise, and as a result, your company is more likely to be able to win the work because it can say, hey, look, we have professionally qualified employees, which shows everybody, it shows their clients that company has that capability. It's a bit like if you're ill, you go to the hospital, you want to make sure that the doctors and the surgeons and the medics that are looking after you have that qualification, so that you're in safe hands. It's just the same in terms of infrastructure and civil engineering. And there are also individual membership benefits. So depending on your membership grade, you can access the Early Careers Network. Of course, there's students and there's graduates. Once you're qualified, it gives you all of those extra recognition sides of things. But all of our members, you can get into the Knowledge Hub. You'll receive, assuming you opt in, you'll receive emails on member news and interesting things that are happening. And all members with an ICE identity can then also tap into the Knowledge Hub and that huge online library of information, which will help your studies as well as your graduate development. And again, as I mentioned, for your company, having a professionally qualified and internationally recognised professionally qualified people, they're more likely to win work, therefore more likely to increase sales and profitability, which can only be a good thing. If I quickly drop into your My ICE, so we can have a quick look at how to become an ICE member as well, and in the context kind of your early career and how you can look at developing your skills and your expertise into ICE into ICE membership. So my ICE is how you get into ICE. So first of all, from the homepage of the ICE website, there's this little blue box here up at the right-hand side of the website, and you click on that, and that opens up a little dialog box here that says basically who are you. So this is where you would log in if you are already a member, or where you would join. If you have previously been a member, but haven't used it since say last summer, then you can re-register yourself. So this blue box here will take you to a re-registration page where you can input some information. If you have any problems with that, you can email me about it and I can find out the details that you might need to put into that website. I think I had that one. Yes, there it is. So if you're re-registering because you've previously been involved with the ICE, there are some details here, including a date of birth. And sometimes that catches people out. So because if you've never put a date of birth in, then how do we know what your true date of birth is? So you can just email me and I can help you sort out. But all the same, so if you click on join, I'm afraid I can't show you any screenshots of join because it doesn't give me that, but it asks you for some information and you just simply fill it in and it gives you an ICE membership account. This is what my personal ICE membership account looks like. It tells me my membership number and the branch that I'm associated with from where I'm based here in the UK. And I can see my various account details and things. So I can manage my account. I can opt in or opt out to emails. I can update my address if I change jobs or if I move house. Again, I can update all of those. And I can also get into the key thing, which is the My IPD online account. And this is where you can record your experience as you go through your training, in a sense, as a professional engineer. So to gain and record experience, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, there is the possibility of in your early career of joining an ICE approved training scheme if your company runs that and has it on offer, or to ask if you can use the mentor supported training route instead. So the difference is almost nothing, to be quite honest. So what happens is if you are able to join a training scheme, your company will set you up with an IPD online account, as we call it, Initial Professional Development Online. and basically you complete an online form, and it opens up this account for you, and it's an online portal. It's a structured approach insofar as it will guide you through gaining all of the competences you need to demonstrate to ICE that you meet all of those member pardon me, all those member attributes. Beg your pardon. To join either way, you set up with somebody who has been trained and approved by the ICE. So under the training scheme, you'll have what we call a supervising civil engineer, and under mentor supported training, we have what we call a mentor. Both of those people have been trained by the ICE, so they know what they're supposed to be doing in terms of supporting you through gaining your experience, your abilities, and we keep in touch with all of these people to make sure, again, their knowledge and their expertise remains fresh. So if you are able to join one of these schemes, you end up with an IPD online account, as we call it, initial professional development. And you would you have a form. There's always an online form, isn't there? And this will tell you you can input your information and who you work for, the qualification that you're aiming for. So whether that's an IEng or CEng qualification, and some other key dates. And there we go. It's quite a long form, so we see a little bit more about it. If you're on a training scheme, you would have your supervising civil engineer, but you can also opt for a delegated engineer, so somebody who will just look after you on a day-to-day basis. Once you have your initial professional development online account, then this is what the dashboard might look like. So this is somebody who is working towards IEng. It tells them who they are, and it tells them they're a trainee. And this person is making progress on their attributes. Now, there are 7 attributes. We used to have 9 attributes, and until the autumn this year, IPD Online retained those 9 attributes within each box. If you start an IPD Online account now, you'll actually have 7 boxes, but it actually looks the same. I just don't have any screenshots lately of trainees' views. So this person has 9 attribute boxes, and you can see here there are 3 and 4 levels of little boxes within each box. So what we have is different levels, and as you undertake the structure of the structured training, you'll start off gaining knowledge about each of the attributes, then you'll gain experience in the attribute, and then you'll gain ability. And the ability then is either at incorporated level or at chartered engineering level. So hence you have up to 4 boxes per attribute. And so for this person going through IEng, we're all really good at maths. There are 9 boxes. There are 3 levels of each box. They have 27 sub boxes, if you like, to achieve. This person then has got out of 27, and they've achieved 6 of their boxes so far. They've achieved experience in their 2 technical boxes, and I think if I click here, we can go down, and they've got a little bit of knowledge box, and they've got another experience box there. If we take this interpersonal skills box here, they have clearly put some information into their account at knowledge level, and their SCE or their DE or their mentor has written a comment against it, but they haven't yet signed it off. Up here, we can just about see at the top, this person has put information in at knowledge level. They have a comment about this. Because it's gone green, it looks like it's been approved and signed off. If it's orange, there's a little bit more work to do in this sense. So you can see your progress as you're going through your training, your development of your experience and your capability. You can see your progress. Those little boxes go from grey to orange to green, and you can feel good about yourself because it all goes green in the end, and it's all good. And you can identify where you need to get some more experience, and you can go to your mentor or your supervising civil engineer and say, look, I have got nothing yet in, say, this person's sustainable development. Please, can you help me get some experience and capability, and ensure I can achieve my capability that I need in sustainable development in order to achieve my ICE qualification. So it also helps guide you for your career, for your personal professional development as well. For each box, if you click on each box, then what you see is obviously the box number, whether you've achieved any sign off, so to speak, knowledge, experience, or ability level, and it reminds you what that specification is for the qualification that you're aiming for. And this person here has put some words into the box, and then they can then click save and then come back to it later, or they can submit, and that will then submit to their delegated engineer supervisor, their DE, their SCE, or their mentor, again, whichever scheme they're on, and then that will alert the mentor when the mentor goes into to their IPD online account that trainee has done something on IPD. Please have a look at it and give us your answers. So it's a two-way activity, and it's all done online. And then as you go through this process, then you get to show yourself and anybody who's interested really how you're progressing. So in terms of the document library as well, you also have a document library. So this is where you might say write a report or something. We often say suggest to trainees to write something to reflect on what you've been doing regularly and frequently. So ideally every 3 months. So every 3 months you have a progress report of your work. You would upload that into your document library. And then in each of the boxes that relates to the document, to the work you've done, you might say, in engineering, you might say, I was responsible for carrying out this analysis, or a category 3 check on a bridge, or I was ensuring that this piece of this element of the construction process took place. We did we checked the concrete testing, we did slump tests and cube tests and so on to confirm that the specification was right and so on. So you might write a little bit of context into the box, into the IPD online box, and then refer it back to the document in the document library, where you go into a bit more detail, and it's your reflections of what you've done. So it's your report of what you've done and your comment about what you've achieved in doing, maybe what you might do differently, what you've learned, what will definitely do that again because that worked really well, and all those sort of things. This document library is yours. It's yours and yours alone. The only people who see it are you, the people who your supporters, so your mentor, your DE, or your SCE, and anybody from the ICE who then supports you through your process as well. So nobody else will see it when you come to do your professional review. That doesn't get seen by any of your reviewers, so it's your library to do with as you like. So you can upload anything you like in it, and it's all there for you to help you remember what you've done and what you've achieved. It's also where you'll upload your CPD records, and then every year you'll have an annual appraisal with your SCE or your mentor, and again, this is where you'll upload that evidence. So it's all the evidence around how you personally have achieved that ICE specification. So that's a very quick whistle-stop tour about the ICE systems that support you along this way. And so for your next steps, what I'm hoping is that that those of you who will be finishing your studies soon, or who have already finished your studies, will remain in the ICE as a graduate member, and apply now, and click through on the website to join. If you are further in your career, and I'm not sure if we do have people who are further through their career and might be looking at that other process, the career appraisal. If you're looking at that area, you don't have to be a graduate member. In fact, you don't have to be a graduate member if you're not going to undertake anything using the IPD online system. So so it is actually up to people to choose which is the most appropriate way forward for them. But kind of I would sort of hope that that you've started your journeys as students and early career people. So I very much hope that you'll be able to retain your membership with us and then go on towards your professional qualification. And of course, there's lots of opportunities you can get involved. We have Dr. Laksiri and all of the Sri Lankan activities that happen, as well as the support that I can hopefully provide to you, and other things that take place in the ICE. The ICE runs regular and frequent webinars aimed for students, aimed for people early in their careers, and aimed at people throughout their careers as well. So on the events page, which I've forgotten to add onto that slide, but I will add it before we share the slides. The events website page, there are lots and lots of online events that take place. Hopefully, not all of them are terrible times for you. We try and arrange them for times so that they don't inconvenience too many people. And at least in South Asia, we're not too far away. So it's not like when you're in, I was on a meeting with somebody who joined from New Zealand, and it was 1 a.m. for them or something crazy. So at least we're not so bad with our time zone difference. And there are events on pieces of knowledge, on policy, on interesting things that have happened around the world, on like tsunamis and earthquakes and water management and structures and new materials and carbon and loads and loads of things. So not only hopefully are they interesting, but they're also good CPD and may well help you in your studies, in your early career. So I think I've probably spoken enough, and I'd love to answer any questions. And in the meantime, here is my contact details, and of course, Dr. Laksiri's name for you to make note of. And I'm always very, very welcoming of any email questions or anything you'd like to ask me from now. Over to anybody who would like a question. I think I might stop sharing my screen now and come back. I'm not sure if any questions have come up on the chat. I've been concentrating. Okay, so we have membership card. So yes, there's been a few issues with issuing with a few problems with issuing membership cards. I can take. I'll reserve your. I'll make a note of your membership number, and I'll ask my colleagues who issue the cards to make sure that you receive a card. So I apologise for some of our problems that we've had in that area. And another membership card question there. So moving from student membership to graduate membership, it's required to upload the relevant degree certificate copy. Who's acceptable to countersign certificate if the person is not listed in specific categories on the IC website? Justice of the peace actually would be more than acceptable. As you ask, it's kind of to countersign a certificate and transcript. It's really somebody who we know isn't just somebody you've met on the street or in a cafe and said, "Oh, could you just sign this for me?" So it's somebody kind of who might be in a sort of serious kind of profession, so they can say, I'm a justice of the peace, I am a manager in a business, I am a director in the organization, I'm a lecturer in the university. Also it's so that we in the ICE can have confidence that this person is acting professionally, I think, if that helps. We have the next question. Recently become a graduate. You've been working for 7 years, looking at infrastructure. So to pursue chartered engineer. Again, so with 7 years experience, I would suggest, well, first of all, I would suggest if you send me an email with an outline CV, then I can take a look at the kind of work that you've done so far. What you could also do um, is um, is take a look at the attributes specification for chartership, and then think about what you've done, what your career has, where your career has taken you so far. Think about whether you could confidently tell somebody else the ways in which you can meet that attribute specification. But we can have an email conversation or a Teams conversation ourselves about this. So please send me an email to my email address, which is on, I think, all of the details and things, and we can pick that up from here. But the career
share,
appraisal route may well be the most appropriate way for you, as opposed to using IPD online. So for professional review, yes, you would apply for professional review with 2 sponsors. The lead sponsor must be a professionally qualified member or fellow of the ICE at or above the level that you're applying for. So if you're applying for engineering technician, then there can be any of the 3 grades membership. If you're applying for incorporated engineer, they need to be incorporated or chartered. If you're applying for chartered, they need to be a chartered engineer. The second sponsor must also be professionally qualified, but it doesn't have to be a member of the ICE. So they could be I-D or any of the others also. How can anyone progress from GMAS to chartered? So, well, the time taken is the main thing. The time completely depends on your own professional journey. The beauty of the Engineering Council qualification is that it's your qualification. So we assess people against those member attributes in the context of the work they do. So, for instance, if you work in the design office, say you work for Atkins Realis, say, thinking of a random organisation, and you spend your time in the design office designing structures or water management systems also. No, actually, let's say you spend your time designing on structural engineering. Your questions will not have anything to do with water management, for instance, because although you'll have studied some water management in your degree, you're not doing it. So we don't expect you to know it, but we do expect you to know all about the structures. So, so your questions from your reviewers, which is why when you apply for your review, there's a table of potential, well, of typical themes. So whether you work in transportation or structures or highways or energy generation or environmental and that sort of thing, so that we can make sure that we match you with people who are your peers, really, who understand the same things as you understand. So with that being that so personal, and it's all in the context of your work. So although you have the specification requirements to meet, there are expectations that we have that if you work more in the design office, for instance, you will likely to have less exposure to the commercial management of any one piece of work, but would still expect you to know the implications, say, of a change or an issue, of a problem on that contract. So but if you work in on site and you're, say, a construction manager, then we would expect you to know a lot more about that commercial, because the construction management job involves a lot more ensuring that the project happens and all the right things kind of happen, if you see what I mean. So it's all contextual, and as a result of that, there is no specified time for it to take. It can take 20 years, it might take 5 years. But it will certainly take some time to be able to gain all of the right experience and capability against the various levels of the attributes that you're looking for. So typically people might take 7, 8, 9 years or so to get chartered. Some people can do it in 4 if they really get the right experience, but it's all dependent on circumstances. I noticed there was a question based in Singapore. Is it acceptable for my lead sponsor to be based in Sri Lanka? Absolutely. Your lead sponsor could be on the moon. It doesn't matter where they are, as long as they're an engaged member of the ICE. Common mistakes that chartered candidates make in their reports and during the Viva. The top 3 ways in which candidates fail their professional review, if I say the top 4 actually, because that's easier, are attribute 1, that's the top one. A lot of people will fail their technical attribute, and that's quite often because it's so obvious to them. It's difficult to, it's part of their communication skills of making sure you create a rapport and a kind of a relationship with your reviewers during your review, and giving them the confidence. A lot of it is about giving the reviewers the confidence that you are capable now and will continue to be capable as you go forward. And therefore, answering a question that there's, oh yeah, let me have a think, doesn't give them that confidence. Whereas answering the question was, well, of course, yes, we had to consider the force direction and the wind loading and this and that and so on. So if you imagine kind of a structural sort of answer. So it's about being able to convey with confidence your decisions, your thoughts, your application of engineering. People also fail on the commercial attribute because it's quite a difficult one to do, health and safety, and management and leadership. So again, it's very often it's conveying what you know as opposed to not necessarily having the knowledge and having the capability. And I see if a candidate fails at the first attempt, how can they reapply? You simply reapply. You put in a new application next time round. Usually, you will always get feedback from your reviewers, quite detailed as well, ideally. It's always a complaint of the reviewers that they have to write so much when they're doing the review. But you'll get feedback that where your reviewers will tell you where you didn't convince them about your capabilities. And then you check that on board, think about it, think about maybe if you might have to amend your report a little bit or amend your presentation or have some slightly different answers kind of prepared in your head, ready for the kind of questions that they might ask. And then you apply again. It's a whole new review, a second or any further reviews. Every single review you might do is an entirely new review. So your reviewers will not know that you've done a review before. You will still have to pass every single attribute at the next review as well. So you don't have, they've already passed 4 of them, they just need to pass the other 3 or something. You have to pass all 7 attributes at any one review. So I hope that helps. Yeah, and you simply reapply in the same way as you applied in the first place through the application portal. We have Bachelor of Engineering Technology in Construction Technology. Am I eligible for this? For you, I would look on that course search tool because there are so many thousands of courses. I don't know on this one. So I would take a look for yourself if you can. If you go on the ICE website and just put course search into the search bar, it'll come up for you as well. We have what kind of civil engineering are currently in high demand in England? All jobs, really. There's a lot of construction, there's a lot of design happening. If you're interested in a job in the UK, I would take a look at I would Google civil engineering graduate jobs UK and see what comes up. There are so many. So we have my professional review is almost completed. Shall I submit directly to ICE? Yes, that's the only way to submit. There's a pardon me, if you put into the search bar on the pardon me, on the ICE website, you'll see you can put professional review application, and it'll come up with the guidance. Check through the guidance, make sure you've met all of the requirements, you've followed everything that it asks you to do, and there's a link, and you'll click on the link, and it'll take you to the section where you can you go through, you upload your application, you create your application all in one large PDF. You check for size, because I think it's 15 megabytes maximum. So sometimes people have to compress their images to make sure that it meets that megabyte size. You make sure you've paid your fee. It's a checklist of all. Have you remembered to add in all of the different bits of the submission, and then off you go. The next deadline is the 17th of July, so there's lots of time to get it right. Your sponsors are required to send in their supporting statements the week before, so on the 10th of July. So there is lots of time at the moment to check that you've got it all ready. And once you're ready to go, you can send it in, and it'll sit there waiting in the portal, ready for the July, and then for my colleagues in the professional reviews team to match you up with some reviewers. So I wish you the very best of success as well when it comes around. As I've explained about IPD, if we do have two schemes in Sri Lankan companies, if you don't have any companies in Sri Lanka that offer the ICE training scheme, you can always request mentor supported training. We can help match you with a mentor. There's a mentor matching portal really on the ICE website that you can sign up to, or any of us who are involved in the ICE can reach out to our professional networks across the institution and ask for somebody to step forward to be a mentor. The mentor doesn't have to be in the same company, doesn't have to be in the same country even. It doesn't matter where they are, so long as you can create a working relationship between the two of you. I think I can add somebody asked my email. So yes, if you look for me on the ICE website, you'll also be able to find my email address. So so we have if we have Sydney Accord accredited degree, can we go for CEng? So if you have a Sydney Accord accredited degree, yes, you'll be able to come straight into ICE graduate membership, and then you can work your way towards your chartership. Again, it's all about demonstrating that you meet the member attributes at the level that you're looking at. So we couldn't find further details of a selected course. Yes, if the course finder page doesn't know about your course, then you can send information you can make an initial inquiry, and you can send that to the academic qualifications panel. There is an email, I think on that screenshot that somebody shared. Yes, if your course is not listed, please contact aqp@ice.org.uk. So you can email them and say, hello, I'm from here, this is my degree, I studied it full time, I started in October 2021 or something. Say, could you tell me if you know about my degree? They'll come back to you and tell you. We have most ICE members who are living and working in Sri Lanka can eligible to pay reduced membership fee as an ICE annual subscription. Yeah. Please make updates and sections for each candidate upon their request. So you can, I think this, so if you earn lower than a certain amount, which regularly changes, so I don't like to quote it, you can request a reduced membership subscription fee. That involves simply filling in a form and sending it in to the subscriptions departments, and then they'll apply that to your ICE account, so that the bill that comes through to you will only be that reduced subscription fee. So that's something for the subscriptions team who will do that, who are looking after the finance and the subscriptions. I can certainly ask them to take a look at that. They're currently quite overwhelmed with lots of inquiries from people who have been trying to pay their membership fees since our new system went online. So I apologise for that. We have somebody who completed a Bachelor of Engineering Technology in Construction Technology. Again, with that one, I would go to the course finder, the course search page, and take a look and see if it gives you anything. Again, if it doesn't know about your degree, you can email the AQP team, and if it doesn't, hopefully we will be able to answer your question on that one. But there's always routes to getting a professional qualification, and if you're unknown and an academic assessment comes back, also worst case scenario unknown, there are ways to demonstrate your capabilities in a different way. I didn't want to go into that much detail. It's called the technical report route, and it allows you to send in one report all about a technical project, and another report about managerial, commercial communication, kind of things that you do, which allows you to demonstrate your knowledge at the level as well as your ability at the level. It's slightly different. It's slightly more convoluted, so I didn't really want to touch on it too much. And it's quite it's not often used by people. Most people will use either using the IPD online route through mentor supported or a training scheme, or the career appraisal route. Let's see. We have as evidence for required attribute in the ICE Charter, can we use other certificates obtained instead of CPD or CPD certificates, proof of competence? We don't actually require CPD certificates. In people's CPD records, we believe you. When you say that you've undertaken a piece of learning, we believe that you've undertaken that. What might happen is that as a professional review, your reviewers might say, oh, I noticed in about 18 months ago, you said you read this article. What can you remember about the article? Or you went on a course, you learned this. How did that really help? And so you might get asked a question about it. But we assume that that when people have said that they've done the learning, that they have done the learning. For academic qualifications, it's different. Then we do need the a copy of the certificate that's been validated as evidence that it's your certificate and it's a real certificate, kind of things. We have a question about an internship diary taken into consideration. Well, you can use what you've learnt in an internship as part of your initial professional development. So any and all activities that you've done that contribute towards your competence at incorporated or even technician or at chartered level, it all counts. So if you've done an internship and you've learnt about, say, structural analysis, that's a level of knowledge level and even some experience level potentially that you could write into for your IPD. So it's all experience counts towards you, because your qualification is you as a rounded, professional, capable engineer. So I have the last question on the list. My ICE section, further details, not yet specifically illustrating each member's information and profile, contact details. Further set up my ICE, required contents whilst delivering. And, I'm not quite sure I understand Udaya's question on this bit. Members' information.
Dear madam.
Mm-hmm.
Madam, I have one question to ask about one of our attribute in ICE is the communication skills. So some of engineers are following Toastmaster International when they are starting Toastmasters journey. So Toastmaster is also kind of a platform to enhance our English knowledge and the leadership qualities. So that Toastmaster certificates will be aligned with the ICE review.
So if you're undertaking a master's qualification, that would be something that would be part of your academic base, your knowledge base, to give you eligibility towards chartership or incorporated engineer. The learning you do during a master's program doesn't count towards your professional capabilities because it's part of it counts towards your academic base. So if you remember those three blobs with the underpinning a continuing professional development, there's the academic base blob, followed by the professional competence blob, followed by the professional review blob. So you can't use something that goes towards your academic base as part of your competence. So yes, you might learn during a master's if you're learning, say, management, so engineering and management or construction management or something like that. You'll learn about the management, but you won't necessarily be doing the management until you're out there being a manager, being a construction manager. So you've got to be very careful in how you claim what you know and what you can do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Jenny, can I come in there? I think what Shane is asking, Shane, you said you are following a Toastmasters course, right?
Yes, sir. Can we use that certification as a evidence for the leadership and communication attribute which I gained?
Right. Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Postmaster. Sorry, beg your pardon. You can use it as CPD because it's learning.
Right.
It's the application of your learning in your professional career, your professional activities that counts towards your demonstrating your capabilities. And so again, it's that if you remember that the CPD that runs through your entire development. So that's where that kind of learning would be most appropriate, I think. But you could then write in your reflections about your personal professional development. I've been doing this, say, undertaking the postmasters qualifications in management and leadership, which has given me skills in say situational management or in communication skills. I now am able to work better with different types of people, or I can communicate my my thoughts, my points, or whatever the irony here that I can't communicate this. I can say what I need to say and get my message across to technical people, to non-technical people, to junior people, to more senior people, and so on, as a result of having done that course. You can say that in your CPD reflections and in your IPD reflections. That's all good. But just going on a course doesn't give you the competence, because I could sit in lessons in, let me think of a language I don't speak. It doesn't necessarily give me the competence until I've gone and proven that I can speak in that language, if you saw what I mean. So yeah, going on the course gives you the skills that you can then deploy in your professional life. It's that deployment of those skills that you would put into your IPD.
Thank you, madam.
Yes, I have a question.
Oh.
Okay, continue, please. I will ask this later.
Madam, most of the people in our engineering community, some of them are doing some mistakes during the report writing. So when they are exposed to some project, they are writing some loose words. I mean, maybe he is not engaging to the extract word, but he is in that team. So he or she said, this kind of a problem I have. In this problem, I was one of the teammate in this to solve this problem. So that's how I gain that knowledge. That kind of things they can include into the reports. So will it be a drawback in will it be a disadvantage in the Viva session, in the chartered driver session?
So if I think I've understood correctly, so you have people who are working in a team, and the team together is working on, say, a solution. Is that right?
Yes, yes, madam. He is not specifically say in this team. My part is this thing. Uh, Overall, he says, he or she says, I'm in this team and I exposed to this kind of a problem, and eventually we solve that problem. So that kind of a statement will not give you a proper idea about how I engaging with that problem. So
Yes, yes. So this is a yes. Engineering is a collaborative profession. You can't be an engineer completely on your own, can you? So very often people are working as part of a team or part of a group of people who are addressing an issue, either whether it's designing a structure or solving a construction problem or something like this. What the ICE will be interested in is where that person says that they are within the team. So say an organization chart which shows where they fit into that organization and who they're working with. And then we want to hear about the problems and about the issues and the solutions that have been found, if you like. But it's that particular individual's contribution. So as an example could be there is an issue, you're working on site, the temporary works have been installed, but the team leader maybe has gone round and looked at it and said, oh, I'm not happy with it. And so the team then gets together and says, how can we solve this? So each team member then is contributing to that solution. So the person who's writing their report can say, I was part of this team, we found the problem, temporary works, etc. The supervisor found this, we were then tasked to solve it. What I did to solve that was, so my contribution to this was, I analysed this, I went and took pictures, I thought of this, I did the other, and so on. So it's a team exercise, but it's that individual's contribution into the team. That's absolutely great. We're interested in hearing that. We don't want to hear what the team did, because we're not qualifying the team, we're qualifying the individual.
thank you.
The question about the MIC membership. I am a structural engineer, Institution of Structural Engineer UK. Then I apply for the AMIC membership. It's IC, I got it. But after that, unfortunately, I haven't continued to the MIC. Now I asking, what is the procedure to achieve this MIC? If any variance means any short way is I'm a chartered engineer is ISAC. Is any short path to achieve the MIC, or so how to do is as a typical way?
No, as a chartered member of iStruct-E, you can transfer your chartership across to the ICE through it's called the Engineering Council Recognition Pathway. And if I can send some information into the Sri Lankan team, if you like. So this is because the Engineering Council, it's the same Engineering Council qualification, Chartered Engineering, with iStruct-E, with ICE, with any of the other UK-based professional engineering institutions. So that qualification exists and it stands, and it's attached at the minute to iStruct-E. So you can apply to ICE to attach your chartership to ICE instead. It's a fairly straightforward process. It involves a detailed CV. You have 4 pages in which to describe your career to date, and then a statement of up to 1,000 words where you state the work you're doing in relation to those seven member attributes. So so you would write about your structural engineering projects that you've done. You would say and I lead a team which where I ensure the work gets allocated appropriately, and I support the team, and blah blah blah. So you say about and you give some examples. So when I was working at this company or on this project, I had a team of 6 engineers, and we did this, that, and the other, and I ensured that the project happened, and you talk about all the work you've done in such a way as to describe that your ability and the fact that you meet those 7 member attributes in the ICE. If you were going to be doing this, you and I would definitely have at least one Teams conversation about this. You would send me a draft of your statement and your CV, and I would give you some advice over that. That's actually part of the process. You have to say that I have had a conversation with Jenny about this. So we do it, and it's quite straightforward, and it just simply moves your chartership across from iStruct into the ICE.
Thank you, madam. Okay, I will listen.
You can, if you want to, undertake a professional review, but you don't have
Yes,
to.
yes, yes. Thank you.
Hello, madam. I'm Udedisa. Can I speak to you?
Mhm.
I'm Udedisa from this SRAI's Executive Committee, madam. Sri Lanka Association. We are working under Dr. Kamal Laksir and Engineer Dharmapala. Actually, madam, now at the last maybe like 9 years back, the physical professional review were conducted in Sri Lanka and other countries. At the moment, for international members, the physical professional review is not much conducted. Is that not encouraged, or what's the reason, madam? Now most of the physical and both online professional reviews are conducted, or what is the situation at time?
Yeah, about 2/3 of our professional reviews are carried out online nowadays. Post-COVID, of course, during the pandemic, we found that actually, and there's no difference in pass rates between online and in-person reviews. And so to try and minimize our carbon footprint, we try not to go too far in the world. So we have a few different locations around the UK, because 90% or so of our reviews take place for UK-based candidates, and so we always have professional reviews in person in London in 1 Great George Street headquarters, and then in February we include, well, in February, June, and June, July, and October reviews. We then we have 1 or maybe 2 other UK-based regions, and we have reviews based in Hong Kong once a year as well, again because there's a demand. Now, if we end up with enough of a demand, enough people from South Asia also that will be coming to professional review, and we can justify the carbon cost, and it is the carbon cost really, of sending the team out to internationally, then we will be able to pick up doing international reviews again. But at the moment, pretty much everybody who's doing a review internationally will be doing an online review, as well as about half the people in the UK who do a review are also doing online reviews.
Hi, madam. Yes. I already says AMIC member is 3 years ago, but I haven't continue. Now is the membership is I think it's a stop it. So how can I it is a renew or some activate the membership?
Well, you're almost too qualified to be an AMICE if you're a chartered engineer with iStruct, to be fair. You can, if you choose the My ICE button on the ICE website and follow the online form, if you can remember your AMICE membership number and details,
Yes,
it will just
yes, I know.
yeah, it'll take you straight back in again. with AMICE, as I recall, I think you just pay the membership fee, and it reinstates you.
But there is this no access. I think I cannot pay the subscription. So I mean, it's a couple of week ago. I check it. That one is I mean, it's not activated. So I cannot
Oh,
access.
right. Okay, let's see if I can find the system. Let's see if I can find you.
So I have to apply for the again, or just renewed by the email.
I'm just having a quick look at EEESWARN. Okay. Right, so yes, I can find you with your associate membership. Right, let me just find on the reinstatement for AMICE. Member, fellow, associate. Okay, to pay actually for graduate and associate members, if your membership has lapsed, there is a UK phone number to contact, because we want to make sure that we've got all the right details. So if I pick up this phone number, and let me check that I'm getting into the chat to everybody. So there's a phone number here. You can call, this is the membership services, subscriptions, and that subscriptions team will be able to confirm to you the membership and just check your details, and then you can pay for your membership just straight away over the phone with them straight on there. It is a bit of annoying that it's only available as a UK phone number, so I apologise for that. I have raised it for our international people.
Okay, thank you.
And while we're here as well, this is my email address.
Yes.
ice.org.uk. So do please pick up that and send me any inquiries as well that you might have, and I hopefully we'll be able to answer them in a few days or so. We have a long weekend coming up in the UK, by the way, for Easter. So
It's okay, thank you.
but yeah, for let me just think. Yes, for Mr. Morally-Swaran, we can talk if you send me an email and say I'm the one who's looking at moving my iStruct C end to ICE, then we can pick up from there.
Sure, madam. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think I might have exhausted you all.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, there's a question to me as well. I think yeah, what's the difference between the IC chart and the ISL chart? I think the most of our institute qualifications are based on IC when we established long ago. So there also we have similar set of attributes, and you need to complete 48 months of experience, both design and construction. So that's your submit a report, and the PR process almost as in IC. So there's no such difference. I mean, slight differences, but basically it's a competencies assessment. Is the IC chart also valid for Sri Lanka? Yes, it's well recognized in Sri Lanka. And yeah, there's no issue. It is raised by, yes, Kihanga, yes. So that's my answer to you. Ashwin, any other questions you have? I think you covered a lot, and it was a very useful presentation for all the members. In fact, we were expecting a lot of members to, with the situation in the with the fuel prices and all that, and there are, holidays declared, so various issues. So it's not normal. I think that's one reason we didn't get many members as expected. So some of our activities are already affected, actually.
That's bad news, isn't it?
Yeah, some of the students, I think universities also now operating on distance learning mode, I think. So most
Right.
of the young members, they are moving home, and can we get membership from ISL once we have IC qualification, overseas experience? Yes, you can. Actually, there's a scheme under ISL. So you can apply to ISL, and then we will, case by case basis, we start assess, and then we put you on the correct, the equivalent membership grade. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Excuse me. Ma'am, I'd like to ask a question. I'm from CNEC campus. Our degree is accredited to University of Wolverhampton in UK. It's a 3-year bachelor's. So for us to continue, is a 3-year bachelor like a disadvantage, or is it okay compared to a 4-year bachelor?
In the UK, a 3-year bachelor's is usually 3 years of full-time study. A 4-year bachelor's is usually either an extra year beforehand to prepare you for study, or an internship year, so a year of industrial placement. If the bachelor's accredited, it'll be accredited, and you'll know where you're going, and so kind of like off you go sort of thing, ready for your graduate membership and your career, really. I know Wolverhampton University very well. I sit on their industrial advisory board, as it happens, and I personally trust their degrees. The students that I see, that all come out very well, and they all go to good jobs. So it looks like a good degree. So I know that Wolverhampton only takes to bachelor's level. Does it have an MSc? I think it might have an MSc as well, but it doesn't have an integrated master's. So its degrees are a bachelor's degree followed by a single standalone master's, as opposed to a 4-year undergraduate master's, if that makes any sense. They're good degrees.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
There are no questions. We can move on to the next segment. Okay. Thank you once again, Miss Illingsworth, for sharing your valuable time and expertise with us today, and for answering every single one of our questions without missing a single question. And on behalf of SLICE, we would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude for delivering such an engaging and informative session by presenting a token of appreciation.